Hey everyone, Finn here. Welcome to the very first video on this channel. I am so incredibly excited to finally launch Files by Finn, a place where you and I are going to dive into the darkest, weirdest, and most unsettling corners of human history. For our very first official file tonight, I knew we had to start with someone absolutely legendary. I'm talking about a guy who quite literally refused to die. Seriously, imagine shooting someone point blank in the chest and they just stand back up. Then you feed them enough cyanide poison to kill a small army, and they just ask for another glass of wine. This is the story of Grigori Rasputin, the infamous Mad Monk of Russia. Most school textbooks will tell you he was just a creepy mystic who manipulated a royal family. But as I dug through the old declassified police reports and private journals this week, I realized the truth is way stranger and way darker. So, grab your coffee, lock your doors, and let's dive into our very first file. To truly understand the madness of this story, we have to look at where this guy actually came from. Rasputin wasn't born into gold or royalty. He was born in 1869 in a freezing, muddy, completely isolated village in Siberia called Pokrovskoye. But why did he turn out the way he did? What turns a regular Siberian kid into a literal demon monk? Well, if you look closer at his childhood archives, things were already getting pretty dark early on. When Grigori was just a young boy, his older brother Dmitry drowned right in front of him in a freezing Siberian river. Talk about an eerie, terrifying foreshadowing of his own ultimate fate, right? After that tragedy, the villagers noticed a complete shift in his personality. He became distant, intensely moody, and started claiming he could see divine visions, specifically of the Virgin Mary. The locals, of course, just thought the poor traumatized kid was losing his mind. As he grew into a teenager, Grigori didn't exactly become a saint. In fact, he became the ultimate local troublemaker. We're talking heavy drinking, street brawls, and a reputation for being completely out of control. But his chaotic lifestyle finally caught up with him in his late 20s, when he got caught doing what he did best, stealing horses. Now, back in rural Russia, horse theft was a massive deal. It wasn't just a petty crime, it was an economic death sentence for peasants. If an angry mob caught you, they would quite literally beat you to death in the streets. To escape the furious villagers, and maybe out of a sudden wave of religious guilt, avoid overly polished, corporate, or theatrical voice actor inflections. He ran away from his village, left his wife and kids behind, and locked himself inside the Verkhoturye monastery for months. But guys, he didn't come out of that monastery as a peaceful, normal man of God. Oh no, he came out with something way more sinister. This is where the history files get absolutely wild. There are heavy whispers that during his exile, Rasputin was initiated into a banned underground religious sect known as the Khlysty. Now, the Khlysty had a very, let's say, unconventional view on salvation. Their core belief: in order to feel God's ultimate forgiveness, you had to commit the ultimate sins first. Yeah, you heard that right. Sin to win. They held these secret, ecstatic rituals deep in the Russian forests at night, dancing and whipping themselves into a total frenzy. Whether Rasputin actually joined them or just stole their psychological blueprints, this dark period is exactly where he learned how to completely hypnotize and manipulate people using nothing but his voice and his presence. So, armed with these new terrifying psychological skills, he re-emerged. He began walking thousands of miles across Russia as a Stranik, a wandering holy man. He didn't bathe, his fingernails were filthy, his beard was an absolute mess, and honestly, he smelled terrible. But he had this one supernatural trait that stopped everyone in their tracks: his eyes. Everyone who crossed paths with him said his gaze felt like hot iron piercing straight through your soul. He quickly built a massive reputation for predicting the future and healing the incurable. And word of this bizarre, magnetic Siberian mystic started spreading fast, all the way to the royal palace in St. Petersburg. Enter the Romanovs, the rulers of the Russian Empire. Tsar Nicholas and Tsarina Alexandra had a massive secret. Early son and heir to the throne, Alexei, suffered from hemophilia. Back then, a simple bruise could cause the boy to bleed to death internally. The royal doctors were completely useless. In absolute desperation, the Tsarina called Rasputin to the palace in 1905, and what happened next defies modern science. Rasputin walked into the boy's room, sat by his bed, whispered some prayers, and told the parents to stop giving him medicine, which, crazily enough, was aspirin, which thins the blood and was actually making the boy worse. Almost instantly, the prince stopped bleeding and recovered. To the Tsarina, Rasputin wasn't just a man, he was an angel sent by God. From that day on, this unwashed Siberian peasant had total, unchecked access to the most powerful family in the world. But as Russia entered World War I, people grew terrified of Rasputin's political influence. Rumors spread that he was practically running the country. So, a group of high-ranking nobles decided he had to go. This brings us to December 30th, 1916. Prince Felix Yusupov invited Rasputin to his palace for a late-night party in a basement room. They laced Rasputin's favorite cakes and wine with enough cyanide to kill a dozen men instantly. Rasputin ate them, drank the wine, and nothing happened. He just complained that his throat felt a bit dry. Horrified and panicking, Prince Yusupov pulled out a revolver and shot Rasputin straight in the chest. Rasputin collapsed. The killers celebrated, thinking it was finally over. But when Yusupov went back to check on the body, Rasputin's eyes suddenly snapped open. He grabbed the prince by the throat, roared, and stumbled out into the snow-covered courtyard. The conspirators chased him down, shot him 3 more times, beat him brutally, wrapped him in a heavy carpet, and threw his body into the freezing, icy Neva River. When the police pulled his frozen body out of the water days later, the autopsy revealed the final, terrifying twist. There was water in his lungs. Rasputin hadn't died from the poison, or the beating, or the 4 gunshot wounds. He was still breathing when they threw him into the river. He ultimately died of drowning. It's like the universe itself had to fight to put him down. And that, everyone, is how the file on Grigori Rasputin ends. But this is just the beginning for us. Since this is our very first video, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below, and let me know. Do you think Rasputin possessed real mystical powers, or was he just the luckiest con man in history? If you enjoyed diving into this mystery with me, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up, and join the family. I'll see you next video with a brand new file. Stay curious.